A person given to often excessively emotional performances or reactions. Gastric bypass. Noun. A surgical bypass operation that typically involves reducing the size of the stomach and reconnecting the smaller stomach to bypass the first portion of the small intestine so as to restrict food intake and reduce caloric absorption in cases of severe obesity. Mouse potato. Noun. A person who spends a great deal of time using a computer. Soul patch. Noun. A small growth of beard under a man's lower lip. Supersize. Transitive verb, to increase considerably the size, amount, or extent of. With all due respect to the folks at Merriam-Webster, I begin this book by proposing a new word for their next edition. To make it easy on the editors, I also include its definition. Readicide. Noun. The systematic killing of the love of reading, often exacerbated by the inane, mind-numbing practices found in schools. Recognizing that this new word and its definition are potentially offensive, I did not arrive at the definition of readicide lightly. The coinage of this word emerges from my 22 years as a classroom teacher, from my work as a district-level language arts coordinator, and from my travels around this country as a literacy consultant. I introduce Readicide here because it cuts to the central ironic thesis of this book. Rather than helping students, many of the reading practices found in today's classrooms are actually contributing to the death of reading. In an earnest attempt to instill reading, teachers and administrators push practices that kill many students' last chance to develop into lifelong readers. The onset of Readicide. Because the powers outside the classroom walls are so strong in tearing down young readers, what goes on inside the classroom is of paramount importance. Today, more than ever, valuable classroom time presents the best opportunity, often the only opportunity, to turn kids on to reading. Unfortunately, this isn't occurring. Consider the following points taken from NCTE Principles of Adolescent Literacy Reform, 2006, a publication from the National Council of Teachers of English. The National Assessment of Educational Progress shows that secondary school students are reading significantly below expected levels. The National Assessment of Adult Literacy finds that literacy scores of high school graduates dropped between 1992 and 2003. The Alliance for Excellent Education points to 8.7 million secondary students, that is 1 in 4, who are unable to read and comprehend the material in textbooks. The National Center for Education Statistics reports a continuous and significant reading achievement gap between racial, ethnic, economic groups. 3,000 students with limited literacy skills drop out of school every day in this country. The 2005 ACT College Readiness Benchmark for Reading found that only about half the students tested were ready for college-level reading, and the 2005 scores were the lowest in the decade. The American Institutes for Research reports that only 13% of American adults are capable of performing complex literacy tasks. These findings point to further trouble. Another recent study, Reading at Risk, found that only 16% of adults are frequent or avid readers of literary texts. Adult reading frequency of literary texts. Reading frequency. Non-literary readers. Percentage who read, 54%. Light readers. Percentage who read, 21%. Moderate readers, 9%. Frequent readers, 12%. Avid readers, 4%. In addition, USA Today reported that 27% of adults in this country did not read a single book in 2007. You do not need to read study after study to sense the degree of readicide in schools today. Instead, talk to any kindergarten teacher. Ask her about students' attitudes in her classroom during reading time, and it is likely she will tell you about her students' enthusiasm. Then ask a 5th grade teacher the same question. You'll likely receive a mixed response. Finish your field research by again asking a 12th grade teacher the same question and notice quick exasperation. Be prepared to measure the emergence of this exasperation in nanoseconds.